speakers don't work. Oh, now it does, okay. No, yeah, okay, good. I'm going to call this council's business meeting to order for April 1st, 2009 at 7:35. Are we prepared, councilors? Okay. Has the council had the opportunity to read their packets?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One housekeeping thing, and the recording secretary, if you would please take note of this. On Monday night's evening, that the council had a special council meeting, I inadvertently forgot to mention that Councilor LaBranche was excused for a prior commitment. If we could duly note that. No, that's in the minutes. You have to correct it in the minute portion when we do the minutes. Okay, congratulations. I need a motion to accept the minutes for March 11th, 2009, special meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? Everybody's happy with it? Okay. We have the motion, it's been second. No further discussion. Can I have a roll call on that, please?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Councilman Utelli? Aye. Council Carr?
Aye.
Jim McGlinnan?
Aye. Okay. A motion to accept the... Were you absent?
Oh,
Yep, you were.
yes, I was, I'm sorry. So I abstained.
Okay, thank you. Motion to accept the minutes from March 18th, 2009.
So moved. Second.
Any corrections? Councilor Quox, did you have one?
No, it was just, one of them it was the, no,
This is the one related to where you were not absent, you were actually excused?
yes, I stayed for part of the meeting. Is that the one I stayed for part of, or is that the one that I left?
No, I don't think it's even
No,
that meeting.
okay, must have been another one I read.
I think
All
it
right,
was, yes.
I'm all set then.
Okay, roll call on the acceptance of the minutes from March 18th, 2009 workshop.
Council Quox?
Aye.
Council Bergeron?
Aye.
Council LaBranche?
Aye.
Council Plosky?
Aye.
Councilman Utelli?
Aye.
Council Carr?
Aye.
Jim McGlinnan?
Aye. I was here, wasn't I? Yeah, I
Excuse
think
me, Mr. Chair, I found it, it was on the latter part of the
What page?
March 11th on page 11. It was regarding the warrant article for the bond for the new village. So I wasn't here for that portion of the meeting. I was here for the first part of the portion, so I'll just vote aye on the portion that I was present for and abstain on the part that I was not.
Okay.
I guess,
If you can split hairs like that, okay.
okay.
I don't have a problem with it. Council's
Okay.
okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. There has been a change in the agenda. Councilors have all been notified. It's been published, put public, good God. Relating to, first of all, we gotta go to public forum,
forum.
non-agenda items only. If anybody would like to speak, the public portion is open right now. Okay, I don't see anybody, so,
Right in the public?
yeah, non-agenda items.
Jen Jarvis, 7 Raymond Lane. Last Monday's special meeting, Councilor Quacks had made some comments about an ordinance that was being reviewed. And she said that she spoke on behalf of the Heritage Advisory Commission. And Councilor Glennon had said twice as well that she was speaking on behalf of the Advisory Heritage Commission, so I just ran down here. So I had looked to find some minutes from the Heritage Advisory Commission to see when that vote took place, and I couldn't find any minutes. So I was wondering if Councilor Quacks could just explain how she got informed by the Heritage Advisory Commission.
Well, she doesn't answer to questions like that, but we can certainly research that and get that to you.
Oh, could you answer it, because you actually said
I
twice,
spoke
too.
to that because she is the council rep to that committee, so she was actually going to speak on their behalf. And I don't know the particulars of the conversation, but she is the council rep, and that's why I let her take that direction. And that the Heritage Advisory Board, in the general consensus, did agree. I don't believe there was a per meeting, but because it was coming here to this level, that discussion was asked, I believe, of some of the people, and the consensus was, yes, that is our consensus. Because not everybody was available for a meeting, I believe, because Miss Ryan was out of the area, and the Getchers was sick, so.
So a few members got together and made a decision?
No, it was actually a phone call that was made and asked, do you have any objections to what's going on, I believe, and the consensus was, move forward.
We can look into it further.
We can,
Get
yeah, definitely
information
look
back to you.
into it, and she's the council rep. She'll be getting back to you on that.
Okay, I'll wait for that. And then the next question I had was, Councilor Carr had voted on the ordinance on the planning board level and had voted in support of all the changes of the planning board, and then had actually made the motion to move the amended ordinance to the town council. And then at this last special meeting, Councilor Carr voted against some of those changes. So I wasn't sure if there was some new enlightenment or public information that,
Just more information,
more information.
more thought and more information.
Okay.
Changed my mind.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, don't see any. I'll close it at 8:42, the public comment.
It's not 8 o'clock yet.
I mean, I'm sorry, what did I say, 8:42? 7:42. We're rushing to get out, I think, that's what's happening. All right, next item on the agenda is and I want to clarify this because there's emails going around, this is not a public hearing this evening. This is the first reading of the Historic District Ordinance. And just so that the public knows that there's not going to be any public comments on this, the public comments will come at the public hearing, which will be scheduled according to the RSAs that are out there, which I think you have to give 10 days' notice. And I think it's actually going to turn out to be, is it 10 or 12?
It's 10 days, but you can't count the date of the public
Right,
hearing.
so- Okay, so it's almost like 12 days, okay.
Um,
Is your light on? Okay. Now, I'll recognize you. Councilor Quacks.
I'd like to make a motion to rescind the vote of the town council of March 30th, modifying the planning board recommended version of the draft historic district ordinance dated March 25th, 2009.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, you want to modify it, okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, I don't see any. Roll call on the modification request to go. Mr. Winowski?
Councilor Quox?
Aye.
Councilor Bergeron?
Yay.
Councilor LaBranch?
I wasn't here Monday. Am I eligible to vote?
I don't see why not. I mean, you've been informed. If you read up on it, I don't have a problem with you voting, so.
Aye.
Councilor Plosky?
Aye.
Councilman Utelli?
Aye.
Councilor Carr?
Aye.
Chairman Glennon?
Aye. The ayes have it. Okay.
And
The light's still on?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'd also like to make a motion to have a first reading of the planning board recommended version of the draft historic district ordinance dated March 25th, 2009, this evening, April 1st, 2009.
Second.
Okay. Counselor LaBranch?
I'm, just want to make sure I have the right copy.
That's what I'm looking for, too.
The one that,
The
the
one
one
you
that I
just-
have actually has first reading April, is this the one that we're going by this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I had the right one. Thank you.
You do have the right one. Okay, I don't see any further discussion. Could we have roll call on that, please?
Council Quox,
Aye.
Council Bergeron,
Aye.
Council LeBranch,
Aye.
Council Kloski,
Aye.
Council Minutелli,
Aye.
Council Carr,
Aye.
Chairman Glidden.
Aye.
Now, a question, Mr. Chair, in regards to having a first reading on that this evening, do we have to read a portion of it this evening, or?
No, actually, I did speak with the town planner earlier today, and she has given me a summarization of it. We
Okay.
do have copies here for the public to pick up. Oh,
I didn't get,
I put it right here, that's what I did.
oh, is that it right there?
No.
I'll grab one because I don't have one either.
Ms. Hardy, is this one, right? That you gave me earlier? Did you give me two?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
that is the one, okay. Okay. If the public would like a copy, they're up here. This is the first reading of an ordinance to amend Title III, Land Use Code and Regulations, Chapter 6, zoning ordinance, in accordance with RSA 675:6 and RSA 675:7. Proposed amendments are described below. Amend Section 1.11 definition by adding Historic District Commission, Historic District Design Standards and Guidelines. Number 2, add a new paragraph to Section 5, Overlay Zoning District, Title Section 5.09, Historic Overlay District. The proposed language establishes the Newmarket Industrial and Commercial Historic District as local historic overlay zoning district, creates a Historic District Commission to regulate constructions and alterations to structures within said district through the assurance of certification approval. Proposed historic district standards and guidelines and procedures for the review of applications, appeals, enforcement pursuant to RSA 674:45-46, 48-49, and RSA 675:6, and RSA 676:17, and RSA 677:17. The full text of the proposed zoning amendment is available in the planning office of the Newmarket Town Hall during normal business hours and online at www.newmarket.gov.
So that's all we have to do. We don't have to read the entire ordinance.
No, we do not have to read the entire ordinance, because that would take part of the night, I guess. Counselor Quox?
So then I'd like to make a motion to schedule the public hearing pursuant to RSA 675:2, paragraph 2, and a second reading on the ordinance on April 15th, 2009.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Counselor LaBranch?
I guess my first question is, that would be the evening of a workshop, and it's my opinion that this is a discussion and a hearing that should have its own evening to allow everyone to voice their opinions for or against, and having an agenda to follow, a reading and a hearing the same evening, I'm just not comfortable with.
Okay, but you do fully understand it is to the chair who does set the agenda. And what I had thought I would do, because I'm going to definitely take your consideration, yes, I agree with you, so I could make the agenda shorter on the regular workshop side of that. And that's really what my intent is.
So,
And we don't even know what the agenda is yet.
Right, but I guess my
Yeah.
question is, what difference does it make if it's the 22nd, the 29th? I mean, what difference does that make?
It really probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
So why is there such a desire to move this to the 15th when we already have a regular scheduled meeting that evening? That's the only question I'm asking.
Okay, I understand that, but we are only following the protocols of the RSA that says what we have to do in order to get it legally set for the public hearing, and I'm following that.
But it doesn't, I'm trying to understand this, so please bear with me. I understand it says it has to be posted for 10 days, but, if it's posted for 12 days or 17 days, which would make it a week later, I mean, what is the difference there? That's the only question I'm asking.
Yeah. It probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but here's my concern. As I've been on this council for 6 years, plus 2 years plus that we've worked on this, 8 years we've worked on this, I don't know of anything new that's going to come before the council that hasn't already been gone through the planning board and gone through the Heritage Advisory Board or any other board. So whether we do it 29th or we do it the 15th, you're still going to get the same people that are going to be there probably. It might be more people, it might be less people, but the opportunity for them to speak is still going to be there. And I can shorten the agenda. So it's not like a rush to get it through, but it is time to move it one way or the other. And that's what I want to do, is try to get it resolved. We owe it to the people.
Yes, we do owe it to the people, and I just have a concern that by forcing this to the 15th...
And no, it's not forcing, we're going with the regulation.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I'd like to just say what I have to say. I was not here Monday night, and I realize that, that's done. But I'm here this evening, and I'm requesting that the council take a look at this and realize that the more that you rush this, the more apt you are to have angry people out there who think that the council is trying to push this through before a certain deadline, and all this council is doing is asking for someone to come up, write a petition, get 100 signatures, and redo this in May, June, or July. That's all I'm saying. So if you want to vote for it for the 15th, please go ahead and do so. I'm requesting that you just wait one more week and do it on the 22nd. That's all.
And I don't see what the difference would be either.
I didn't
either
think
way.
you would,
No.
Mr. Chair.
Right, and I expected you to do this, so I'm not surprised. Are you all set?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Councilor Minatelli?
It's just the same as Mike. I support the idea of maybe having a separate dedicated day for this. And it makes sense to me. I hear what you're saying about we're just following the RSAs, but the RSA just sets a minimum amount of time. If you were to schedule the hearing for next week at a special meeting, it gives a little bit more time for folks to prepare their materials regardless of which side it would give them an extra week to prepare their materials to bring to the hearing, and regardless of which side they're on, and state
6 and 8 years?
You're saying that, but we're just having the first reading tonight, right? I mean, this is the first time I understand the issue's been around for a while, but this is the first time that this council has had this particular ordinance, right? So that's what I'm saying. I know that a lot of people have a lot of time and energy invested in it. So my thought is to give them a special meeting, where just this issue is going to be discussed makes some sense. That's all.
I'll take it on your advisement.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your comment. And, Councilor?
I believe this thought, the birth of the commission in getting the guidelines to protect a $6 million investment downtown has been floating around for a long time. The planning board started having meetings on this back in October of '08, I believe. They have had several workshops. People have had ample time for input and discussions in getting materials together. And I think it's time that we do something to protect our downtown, as we've improved it with $6 million of our taxpayers' money. And I don't see any need to wait any longer.
Okay, thank you. I see no more lights. Can we get a roll call, please?
Council Quox,
Aye.
Council Bergeron,
Nay.
Council LeBranch,
Nay.
Council Plaski,
Aye.
Council Minutелli,
Nay.
Council Carr,
Aye.
Chairman Lennon.
Aye. So it would duly be posted according to the regulations, and we'll have that public hearing on April 15th at 7 PM. Is that the right date, 15th? Yes. Okay, next item on the agenda, Mrs. Glover, you're going to update the council. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a proclamation here somewhere in between. No, actually, that's afterwards. You're up next. Well, you want to come up? Come on up.
Modification.
Yeah, we're doing a modification. The council comfortable with that?
It's
Yes.
fine.
Okay, thank you,
Absolutely.
council, for reminding me of that. I was thinking more to accommodate. What we have here, Mrs. Roser is going to read, you have my copy, so a proclamation regarding
Silver
Silver Star Banner Day, and I thought this was more appropriate for the Veterans Memorial people to come up. I'm sorry, you're done. Julie, you're next.
What did she do?
I don't know where she's going.
She's having a coughing problem and she was trying to get rid of the
Militia.
Oh, you're going to get the militia?
No, I had a mint in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
I have a cough. I
Okay.
think I should try to be reading with a.
Well, I just bumped you. Julie's next. No, go ahead. As I was saying, I thought it was appropriate that somebody from the Veterans Memorial Committee come in and read this. And so Mrs. Roser has graciously agreed to come in and do this for us. Thank you. Go ahead. Yes, please.
Hello, Janice Rosa, Chair of the Newmarket Veterans Committee. The Town of Newmarket, New Hampshire, by the Newmarket Town Council. Proclamation for the Silver Star Banner Day, May 1st, 2009. Town of Newmarket, 2009. Whereas the Town of Newmarket has always honored the sacrifices of the men and women in the armed forces, and whereas the Silver Star Families of America was formed to make sure we remember the blood sacrifice of our wounded and ill by designing and manufacturing a Silver Star banner and flag, and whereas to date, the Silver Star Families of America has freely given thousands of Silver Star banners to the wounded and their families, and whereas the members of the Silver Star Families of America have worked tirelessly to provide the wounded of this town and country with Silver Star banners, flags, and care packages, and whereas the Silver Star Families of America's sole mission is that every time someone sees a Silver Star banner in a window or a Silver Star flag flying, that people remember the sacrifice for this town, state, and nation. And whereas the people of the town of Newmarket wish that the sacrifice of so many in our armed forces never be forgotten. Now, therefore, we, the Newmarket Town Council, do hereby appreciate the Silver Star Families of America and honor their commitment to our wounded armed forces members. We hereby declare May 1st Silver Star Banner Day, the permanent and official day to honor the wounded and ill soldiers of the town of Newmarket. Given at the Newmarket Town Council Chambers in Newmarket, New Hampshire, this first day of April in the year of our Lord, 2009. And Dana, the town council members, I've researched a lot about the Silver Star banners, and if the town council would like me to, I have contacted the Silver Star organization and asked them some questions to purchase a flag so we can fly it for May 1st. And if we want to turn around and include some of the Newmarket veterans who are permanently disabled that fought in foreign soil, because that's what it's about, I think it'd be nice if we did that. There is a criteria that they have to follow, and I'm sure those veterans know the criteria. And if we come down to do that process, I would like someone like in the town hall, like the assessor's office or someone to handle it, because there's some personal information that I don't think everyone should be privy to. But I think it would be nice if we could get the flag for May 1st and fly the flag, and next year have a ceremony where we have some of those veterans who are disabled, who are Silver Star members, if they want to come forward and present them with a banner.
What's the cost of the flag?
It varies according to the sizes that you ordered.
Okay.
One of them,
If it does have that particular star
yes,
on
it's
it,
a
it
silver
has to
star, because
distinguish.
there's different,
Right.
the blue star means family members who are serving. The silver star are for those who are permanently disabled, who fought on foreign soils during the war.
Can you do for the council, and I'm assuming the council's going to go along with this, is to research that a little further, get the
I'll get-
cost of the flag and,
Yep.
all of that particulars, and,
I'll provide a package to
yeah,
give to you.
yeah, make sure that it does go through Mr. Winalski's office, and, he'll provide it in the packet for the council at a later date.
Okay, that'd be great.
And thank you. And there's a couple of questions for you, I think. Councilor Quarks.
Janice, do you know how long it would take to get a flag?
Yes, I called them within a week.
Oh, great.
They would
So-
send it right out.
so-
I did call them, and that the size flag that I saw, it would be about $70, she said, to be really fly nicely.
Does the council still have any money
They
in
have a
their,
website.
council still have money in their contingency?
10 cents? No, yes, we have plenty to do that.
But I can, put the information together and
Well,
pass it down to the town
If
council
she-
to
If she
Ed.
has the price, why don't we just make a motion to have,
Well,
to purchase it?
Are you comfortable with that, or you want to get more information?
No, I'm comfortable. I read it. When this proclamation came to me Thursday, I went right onto the website, and I actually called the company up to ask them several questions to make sure I was in complete understanding what the proclamation was about, in case some veteran called me up and said, geez,
Right.
Janice, can you get me a banner? That, yes, I would like to, but let's make sure that we protect your privacy at the same time. I mean, you can fill it out on the computer, but there's information they may not want to divulge to
Yeah.
community members. And I think it's,
I don't think we have anybody in town that would be
I don't-
wanting to take that information on a personal confidential basis. And
Right,
where
well,
would we store it?
yeah, you can do it on the computer, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that unless they signed a slip saying it was
So
okay.
if they do it on computer, it goes to the
To the
Star
organization
company?
directly.
Oh, to the organization?
Yep.
Okay,
Directly to them.
all right, okay.
So can I make a motion that we purchase the flag Janice Roser alluded to for the approximate cost of $70? So we'll have it in time for the May 1st.
I don't think we can do that. We have to go up to bid. No, just kidding.
No, it's only $70.
Do we accept this first?
Yeah, you need to accept this
Oh, okay.
first, the proclamation first.
And I thank the town council for doing this, because for those people who do not know about the Silver Star organization, their goal was to go out and get like 5,000 new towns to be added on to doing proclamations. And they were very happy that the town of Newmarket was doing it, and they added us to their list where we weren't on their list before.
Oh. good.
So I just told them they could do that, since we were having me read it anyways.
I don't even know how it came to us. I think the administrative
Came-
secretary
Kathy,
found it.
yeah.
Yeah, found it somehow. Okay. We need a motion to accept the proclamation.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Council Velocity, was this related to the
That was
proclamation?
to make the motion.
Okay, all right, so we have that on the table. There's no discussion. Oh, she's all done. I cut her off. She was already done. Roll call, please.
Counsel Cox?
Aye.
Counsel Bergeron?
Aye.
Counsel LeBranch?
Aye.
Counsel Plaski?
Aye.
Councilman Utelli?
Aye.
Counsel Carr?
Aye.
Chairman Glennon?
Aye. And I'm going to go one step further. Mr. Winalski, can we put this in a nice format, nice border, the whole 9 yards, and frame it and provide it for the veterans so they can display it somewhere?
That'd be great, because we can also display it every time we have one of our functions,
Right.
which would be nice.
Just make sure when you get it in a nice display that the council's actually signed it. Mr. Winalski?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, so now we need a motion to authorize the expenditures. You said it's $70, that includes shipping and everything else, or
Yeah,
should
now
we
if
say
I-
75?
If I turn around and put it on my credit card, you'll reimburse me? Because that's the fastest way to do it,
That's his decision.
unless Dawn's going to give, if I give you the information, you do it with your credit card over the town. That way either.
Yeah, maybe if you give him the information,
And he can do it on your town's credit card.
he might be able to do an invoice or a purchase order or something and then get it that way.
We'll take care of that.
Okay.
We'll work it out.
Try not to use your money.
Yeah, thank you.
We haven't voted on that yet, though.
No, we haven't, so don't go away. It may not pass.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Cox?
Aye.
Counsel Bergeron?
Aye.
Counsel LeBranch?
I don't think a motion
We haven't
was made.
actually had a
Well, we
motion
don't
on
have a
this at
motion.
this
I
point.
thought he made the motion.
No, that was a motion
He
to
was going
accept
to.
it.
That was the motion
Accept-
for the other one that I was going to
Accept
do.
the
but I will
I
make-
move that we,
My
I will
mistake.
make, I will make a motion.
Okay.
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that
We authorize the
the town of
expenditure.
Newmarket purchases a silver Star banner flag, to the price not to exceed $75 to come out of the council contingency fund.
Okay,
Second.
no discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Cox?
Aye.
Counsel Bergeron?
Aye.
Counsel LeBranch?
Aye.
Counsel Plosky?
Aye.
Counsel Minutелli?
Aye.
Counsel Carr?
Aye.
Chairman Lennon?
Aye. Before you go, do we have to authorize the flagpole to put it on?
You can fly right underneath this flag here.
It will become the property
Of the town. That's right.
Yes, and that's what I want to make clear. So
No,
it
that's-
is the property of the town, and we could fly underneath the current flag, maybe on special occasions.
Yep, I think it will look nice.
Okay,
And I'd like to thank the town council who did the proclamation and thought of the veterans committees to come and read it. That was nice of you.
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Glover, you are next. Oh, that's right.
Thank you. I'm here tonight to just review, or give you an update as to what has transpired with subsequent meetings with PSNH. Chairman Glennon, the town administrator, myself, Kathleen Lewis, and Mary Jo Peterson of PSNH met last Thursday, March 26th, primarily to sit with them after their meeting with the town council to further discuss the cost of the underground utility project. They did identify for us how they arrived or what the $40,000 in savings constitutes. They had designed redundancy in the system, so essentially the $40,000 is the savings for, in the Main Street stretch, running one primary cable rather than two. And that, they indicated to us, was the sole design change that they had looked into. They are moving forward with obtaining bids from outside contractors for the labor portion of the undergrounding of the utilities. They had a meeting Tuesday, and the bids are due April 10th. So hopefully we will find out shortly thereafter if we're going to be able to experience any further cost savings. We also discussed scheduling, and they provided me with some subsequent follow-up information that they estimated that the work on Main Street would take approximately 3 months. And there is some opportunity to shorten that if they have a contractor do the work. So again, that's something that we'll find out after April 10th. We also, again, on the subject of schedule, asked if there was some way that we could advance the project while we're still discussing what the costs are. And we proposed that the next portion of the work, which is to set all of the sector cabinets and transformers, whether they could break out the costs to do that work and schedule that so that we could get that done in advance of Severino starting the first week of May. So they sent us information after our meeting that the cost for that work would be approximately $12,000. So in consultation with Mr. Winowski, we sent them that prepayment so that they could go ahead and schedule the work for setting the sector cabinets and the transformers. 2 reasons for that. One, obviously, we all want to make an effort to move the project forward. That's the next phase of the work that needs to be done. Secondly, we are all concerned in leaving the, I'll call them transformer holes, for lack of a more technical term for it, but as some of you may have noticed, there are plates over certain sections of the sidewalk where the transformers are going to go in the sector cabinets, and we all feel, I think, more comfortable now that the snow cover is gone with getting the transformers and the sector cabinets set. So I am now waiting for them to get back to me on when they can schedule that, because that's going to take a bit of a coordination. I want to make sure we have enough notice to the businesses downtown and to the public, because it's going to involve, I think, at least 2 flatbed trailers, at least 1 crane to set all of these, and I'm going to guess a couple of days along Main Street, Creighton Street. So again, that's the next thing that's going to happen. We did also confirm with them that although Mr. Osborne is still going to be working on the project, our primary point of contact at PSNH is now Mary Jo Peterson. and she has actually been very helpful and timely in getting information to us that we've requested from the meeting on the 26th. We did talk about the terms and conditions. Again, you may remember that they provided their terms and conditions for the work at our February 20th meeting, and although they admit that they did not provide that information to us 2 years ago, when we signed on to do this work, that they are telling us that those terms and conditions do apply to the project. I think we still have some issues with that, again, primarily, obviously, schedule and cost, that under their terms and conditions, we can't fix the cost and we can't fix the schedule. So we're still talking with them about that. Also, they apparently perform what they call a reconciliation after they have already performed work to determine if the labor hours and materials used on any portion of a project are what they estimated them to be. And they're actually still performing that calculation for the work that they did in the bowl. So stay tuned on what they come to us once they've done that reconciliation.
Was that for 3 years?
Well, that's what I was told by someone else at PSNH. We did make a request to them, certainly that as they're performing work, if they identify anything that they think is going to be an additional cost or time, that they should let us know at the time they're doing the work so that we can perhaps make other adjustments in the work or in the project and not experience these unexpected large cost increases after the work is performed. In terms of them providing us with any further cost reductions, we did have a discussion in which we talked about, had we not elected to put the utilities underground but still moved forward with the Main Street project, they would have had to have done something with their poles and with their aerial lines. They would not have been able to leave them the way they are. And I believe, and they didn't contradict this, we stated at the meeting, I believe that they would have borne the cost to do that. So we asked them to go back and look at considering that cost savings to them should be passed along now as a credit to us. But we haven't heard back from them on that yet. So I would say that where we stand right now is that they have still just come to us with their initial $40,000 in cost savings for the design change. As I said, they're putting it out to bid. We'll get those back April 10th, and then I'm assuming we'll get further information from them after that, and then we'll have to have, I'm sure, certainly at least another meeting, if not with PSNH, perhaps with our attorney, just to see what our next steps might be.
Councilor Clark?
Julie, the $40,000 saving here for not pulling that second line through, is that something they're doing to help defray the extra costs that they're charging us?
Correct.
But in effect, that would have cost us $40,000, so they're really not taking anything off that, what is it, close to $200,000?
You're right. They're not
We're getting less.
they're not discounting the cost, they're taking out an element of the project, correct.
Which, if I read this correctly, and Councilor Bergeron's an electrical engineer, right?
No, I'm an electrician.
Oh, an electrician, okay.
I like the other term better.
But,
Just
Not a
elevated.
baseball.
but what would happen now to the downtown businesses if we had a failure and we had that second line, and they would be able to still have power during an emergency?
Well, I don't know that this guarantees that we're never going to have a power shutdown.
So basically, we're
Neither
getting,
would the two lines either.
we're
so.
getting less than we asked for.
We never asked for redundancy.
Never asked for it, yeah.
That is something that they designed into the project.
And what did they base the necessity of having that on?
Redundancy.
Redundancy.
Yeah. They
Redundancy.
really didn't have a reason, did they?
So they're really not giving us any discount at all for their big, fat mistake. Absolutely none.
If you want to put it that way,
Yes.
but you're correct.
They have not, and I don't think that that's stepping up to the plate. And to have Mr. Osborne work on this project again and possibly make the same mistake he did before of not including things in a project price, to me, I think that's outrageous, and I wouldn't want to work with them again, and I think they should step up to the plate and offer something. And don't they realize with those poles out of the downtown, if anything happens down there, if a car hits a pole, they don't have to come and repair it. They're saving money by us doing this work and not having those poles there.
It's true, although they will consistently state that they prefer their system to be overhead.
And if I could, correct me if I'm wrong, in regards to Mr. Osborne, the point of contact is no longer Mr. Osborne. It is Julie contacting, what was her name?
Mary Jo Peterson.
Mary Jo Peterson, and Julie was also very successful in saying that any of our contractors, foremans or anybody who's a subcontractor on this, can also contact Mary Jo Peterson directly. So Mr. Osborne, in my thought process, for all intents and purposes, has somewhat been moved back a little. He may not be totally out of the project, but he's not in the forefront dealing with the day-to-day issues with Julie. Julie now has a higher level of contract.
Who's going to be quoting future contract prices?
That's internal to PSNH. I don't know who puts all of that together.
Alright,
I know
thank
that they put a lot of things into a computer, and then a computer spits out a number.
And also to that, even though we haven't officially lowered that price of $138,000, we did send them back to the drawing board to look at reducing some of the costs on the aerial lines, as what Julie has pointed out. You would have had to have done that anyways at some point, and other issues that we want them to look at. So potentially, they could come back with some type of cost savings. And one of those would be if the contractor they're going out to RFP on comes in lower, that's a lower cost to us too. But they did not admit to anything wrong. So, Mr. Bergeron, are you all set, Counselor?
Yes, I am, thank you.
I have
Councilor
two questions, actually. One, that reconciliation clause, was that in the original contract? Because that sounds like a Pandora's box.
They didn't use the word reconciliation. They keep using the word estimate.
So they can actually look back at all the work they've done in the past, and if they don't feel they were paid enough, they can come back to us with a bill on all that as well.
Back to 3 years.
Interestingly, when we met with them last Thursday, they didn't say that they would send us a bill. I'm making that assumption, because what they said was they perform a reconciliation to compare the actual hours worked and the material used to what their original estimate was.
So if they overcharge us, are they going to give us money back?
They do say, if the estimate was higher, they send us a refund.
Okay. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Right.
My other question is this spare line that they're reducing out of the project. Now, the mill is now sitting vacant, not using much electricity. Was their intention to use that line for the mills? And if so, I mean, is the current system that you have capable of handling the mills once they're renovated?
Yes. They indicated to us that this is just a redundant line.
Okay.
It would
Or was it
be-
just a spare that was
It would be nice
unused?
to have, but it is not necessary in order to provide, I think what she said was a safe and reliable system.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, once the mills go online, that, oops, we don't have enough power now, we need that new line.
No, it was just redundancy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No other questions from councilors? Julie, thanks for a great job.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilors, you all have a hunting color. Moving on to Channel 13 slide protocol. This is something that Council Pulaski has been working on with the town administrator and Mr. Fuller, and I believe this is something that's already kind of in place. Prior to this meeting this evening, I did have a conversation with Mr. Winofsky on item number 4. Slides from town board/committees or organizations shall be submitted to Channel 13 personnel for posting. I'd like to add to that, town organization will have priority on posting, because we will more than likely have some outside sources that may want to do some advertising, and what I'm referring to there is, and the farmer's market may be coming, and that's an outside entity, and they would certainly be able to do this, but we want to give preference to our organizations. posting, stuff like that. Counselor, oops, here we go. Counselor Bergeron.
Well, how do I mean, it's just an endless loop of slides. So how can somebody get bumped is what I'm wondering.
No, I don't mean bump from being on the TV, but as he's doing his work that he's preparing these to go on, he's going to give preference to
Oh,
town
I see.
organizations first.
So they make
They'll
it on
always
quicker.
get on, yeah,
Oh,
they'll
okay.
make it on quicker,
Chairman
yeah.
Clement, may I read this over so the public knows
Yes.
what the heck we're talking about?
Certainly can.
The Newmarket Cable Access Committee, more commonly known as the Channel 13 Committee, put together procedures for accepting slides for airing on Channel 13. Basically, it broke down to 5 rules. Slides from organizations not related to the town must go through the Channel 13 Committee for review of content and presentation. All slides must be in a JPEG format. Slides have to be submitted 2 weeks prior to being put on Channel 13. Slides from town board/committee or organization can be submitted to Channel 13 personnel for posting. And 5, editing of slides may take place in order to make the slides readable and for clarity of content. This protocol has not been put into place yet due to vacancies on that board. Basically, right now, all slides are submitted through through the town website and are reviewed basically by the station operator, Chris, and he sort of doctors them up. But in order to make better use of Chris's time and to get much better slides on the TV, we want to put this protocol into play. The Cable Access Committee plan was to set up a review committee who would meet once a week, which would be a subcommittee of the Cable Access Operating Committee, to look at the slides that have been submitted, make any changes, any rejections for language, poor background color, a number of things, too small to read, too small a font to read. And unfortunately, because of staffing, that subcommittee never came to be. But that's basically the way we would like to see that work.
Okay.
To take some of the work off the station operator.
The only other thing I would like to add to number 5 would be editing of slides may take place in order to make the slides readable and for clarity of content. It is not the intent of Chris to have to redesign that. It should be done in a format presentable, and he may have to tweak it, but not to come in and ask him to design it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. Okay. So now that we have this procedure presented to the council, I would entertain a motion to have this become policy. We don't need to put it into a resolution form. I did discuss that with Mr. Winalski. We both feel that it could be a procedural thing, so long as the council does agree with it. Motion?
So moved.
So-
Second.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, I can.
When it says, this is I think it's kind of similar to Councilor Bergeron's question. When it says slides from organizations not related to the town must go through the Channel 13 committee, what is the protocol? I mean, are there guidelines relative to organizations that can and can't use Channel 13? Or let's say, I mean, the Judy Carr Construction Company wants to, put an advertisement up on Channel 13. Is that, permissible or not?
That would be, this is why this was put in, because for a company to advertise, that is not allowed on our channel by the standards. We are a government access,
Okay.
It's an
so
organization.
personal advertising is not accepted.
All right.
Which is why we put this in there, so that anything that comes in that might even hint of advertising, we could send back to the sender and say, this is why we rejected this slide. You need to change it so it's not reflective of advertising. Also, things that might generally be considered offensive. Thinking of possibly an organization with 3 letters, which I'm not going to mention by name. Residents might find something from them offensive on our station.
Yeah, I think we got the message on that
Okay.
one.
That's
I understand.
basically why that rule was there.
Thank you.
Counselor Kwok.
Should it be slides from nonprofit organizations? And that would eliminate anyone trying to get in to make money. Or do we have I mean, most organizations are primarily nonprofit, or?
That's why we want to review them, just to give every fair organization the chance to have their slides up there and to keep out what shouldn't be there. That's why we want them to go to the review committee.
But, to promote educational and cultural, usually those groups are nonprofit.
Correct.
And if they make any money, they use that money just to promote those types of things again. So by putting nonprofit in there, I think you might eliminate the fact of people getting irate, not being able to put any type of commercial type of things up there. It's just a thought.
That could be reworded to read slides from non-commercial organizations.
Or from nonprofit only.
Non-commercial / nonprofit? I mean, I wouldn't know how to word that. It's just a thought. I'm all
Okay.
set.
You all set? One of the big questions I have, Councilor Minicelli alluded to it, and I'm not sure if it was really captured. When you say it goes to the Channel 13 committee for review, does that committee already have in place protocols and procedures?
No, because we have never actually formed that subcommittee.
That needs to be done, because you can't just
Yes.
arbitrarily say, the committee decided you can't do this. You need to have procedures and protocols, because they're going to challenge that and say, show me why.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was trying to suggest.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thought I caught
I
that.
tentatively have a meeting set up for next Wednesday, the 8th. Just waiting to hear back from a couple of members, and that will be put on the agenda.
Okay, I'll let it go. Mr. Bertra.
I don't know how far you want to go into this. What about just town-oriented or town-related materials?
Well, you can't really, well, what about the farmer's market type thing?
Well, that's town-oriented.
Right.
It's in the
Yeah, okay.
town.
It would be, yeah, okay.
The other thing is, I don't know, do the festivals make a profit? Because if you say non-profit, and they make a profit so they can use it for next year's
Well, they're
activities-
considered, I know the Heritage Festival,
wanna
Main
put-
Street is a nonprofit organization, and it's no different than the NCDC with their monies. So, they're a nonprofit, so they use the monies
To do
for
it
next
then.
year, yeah.
They reinvest it.
They reinvest it, thank you. Councilor Carr.
I think it's a little limiting to put the nonprofit in there. I can't come up with an example of what might not be nonprofit, but I'm afraid it's going to come back to get us.
Red Cross.
Yeah, like the farmer's market, too, like you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
We need
you have to
criteria.
leave some up to their discretion. And
Right, but I'd be a lot more comfortable with criteria set in place in policy and not just arbitrarily winging it and saying you can't do it. I mean, more definitive. Would you agree with that?
I think that, I know that in talking with Doug Poulin, the goal was to provide organizations within the town of Newmarket. And let's go back to the farmer's market. And and because that's sort of an offshoot of the weekend serenades that we had last year. There was a desire to, what can we do more to bring people into the downtown over the weekends? And, because we've done all this work in the downtown area, and it came up with the farmer's market. I was having conversations with the folks that own the Stone Church who broached the subject with me, and I connected them up. And so we have a large area to do that. And the goal was to try to, let's promote Newmarket, those types of activities. And, there may be somebody who is a profit center, but is doing something that is of value to the town as a whole, not so much that they're going to make money on it, but it's just that they're willing to do something, and we should be willing to help them. Those might be some criteria that's kind of hard to try to write that in.
What
and
about
say,
like a health
if you
fair?
go through this, then that happens. So I think, I'm not saying leaving it loose, but you leave it up to the committee to evaluate what that is. And you know something, yes, this is a benefit to the whole community. This person's not going to be making something on it.
Right.
You know, they're giving of their time, their effort, and their expertise, so to speak.
But there is that one time when the committee will say no, and they'll be challenged and said, what are your policies? Let me see them. Why?
And I think that it's
You
the
need to
committee's
provide that.
responsibility to say,
Yep.
it's being rejected because of X, Y, and Z.
I just
We
think,
haven't
it's-
had that in the past
Right.
that met that same criteria.
I just think it's easier if you have it.
I think it's an
in
evolving type of policy. It's kind of, you know,
Yep.
this is the sort of a mini framework of it, so to speak.
If you remember recently, I asked about the town hall and whether we can, not allow certain organizations to use it. And isn't this the same instance where,
Similar.
so we may have to look at the legalities of this. I don't know, this is a public access thing.
Oh, well, that's a good
I don't
point.
know who
It's-
can use it and who can't use
It's
it.
not a, excuse me, it's not a public access, it's a government and educational access
Yeah, that's,
station.
I was still going to say that.
Does
Is
it
there
still
a
allow
guidelines?
certain people to, any
I-
organization to come and,
I think there are some guidelines.
Under government, you can't do things like the farmer's market because they're bringing people into town. They're bringing people into our downtown area. You can do the roving minstrels because they are bringing people into it. They're to the benefit of all of the town.
are there legal precedents that have been set for this? And is there like since it's been set up as a legal channel or a government channel, I guess you call it?
I'm
Do
sure
you
there
have some
are.
like, criteria to follow for that that's already spelled out?
I'm sure there are, but I do not have that
That's
information.
Maybe
my
we should
question.
refer to
too.
that.
That's exactly my question. Are there something within the cable access contract that says specifically you need to use this for A, B, C, and D?
Certain things are allowed
Right.
at certain times.
Okay. I think we've beaten this one to death enough. Do we want to further investigate, or are we comfortable with this portion of it? Because this is, Mr. Winalski, would you agree that this is a separate portion to what we, or should we defer all of this until?
I think that what should happen is, if the committee's looking to get together, that they can modify it and bring it back to the
Okay,
council for
let's
further
do that.
discussion.
Okay,
All right.
great. We'll put it on to the workshop in, well, actually,
Let's wait till they
till they come back with it.
review it and come back.
We might take more than one meeting to do that.
Okay, well, you're running out of time. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
We'll have to,
the secretary indicates that there's a motion on the table that's,
yep, you need to rescind it, whoever did it. Who made the motion?
It was made by Councilor Quax.
Rescind it.
Seconded by Councilor Fossey.
Rescind by second.
Thank you.
thank you.
Police Chief Kevin Sears, Department of Justice Grant Application.
Evening. Thanks for seeing me being on the agenda so quickly. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned when I was in for my report that we'd been awarded some justice assistance grant through the recovery stimulus bill that the president signed. And the Justice Department has a lump of money that's to go to law enforcement agencies to either hire personnel or purchase equipment. And I didn't know why we were chosen to receive $23,000. I did a little research and found out it's because we keep up to date submitting our crime report statistics, and not all communities do that. So we're on the list of communities that were eligible to receive some cash. The figure's already been predetermined on how much they're going to give us, and we needed to come up with a project that would meet their guidelines. For a few years now, we've been working towards putting mobile data terminals in the cruisers. These are the laptops in the cars that have access to the police records system at the station, the dispatch records, and virtually anything else that's on our server. And to give the officers in the field a live look at our record system without having to call it in over the radio and have somebody read it back to them. And I guess the best analogy to use would be, imagine trying to put Christmas toy gifts together for your kids, and having to get on the phone and call somebody with the instructions someplace else and say, "Oh, can you read the instructions? Where is figure A and what is bolt number B?" and then trying to communicate that over a telephone line and then put the toy together. It'd be much easier to be able to see the instructions yourself. And that's exactly what this will do for the officers in the field. Instead of having to call in and check records and have the dispatcher look it up and then read it back to them over the radio, they'd be able to access it in the car live right there. And by entering computer in the car, data in the car, it would go right back to the station and be logged into our system. So it'd be live, it would be immediate, it would cut down on dispatch time, and where we're in a mode where we're trying to work harder, work smarter, not harder, and be more efficient, this is right up the alley of where we need to be moving. A few years back, we participated in the Car 54 program through UNH, where they put laptops in the cars and with some voice-activated equipment. And we got all of this free. The laptops are already in the cars. Where we're at now is that we need to purchase the software and the modems that allow the cars to talk over cell phone signals to the computers to talk to each other. This technology has come down significantly in price. In the last 3 years, it was around $50,000 to outfit the cars. It's dropped down to around $20,000. So a lot of the other communities have already gone this route. It seems to work very good. Portsmouth, Hampton, Exeter, I believe Durham has just done it. So they're all moving in this direction. It requires a one-time outlay of funding for the software and the modems, and this grant will cover it. So that's a legitimate purpose for the grant. One of the other guidelines for the grant was that the requesting agency, meaning the police department, needed to inform the governing body, which would be the council, of our plan. This would be our plan to use the money, and we need to notify you 30 days in advance of our filing for the grant. The deadline to file the grant is May 18th, so we're going to be able to file sometime around the 1st of May and be in compliance. In the packet, I threw together some of the documents that are part of the grant so that you could see what it is we're looking to do. I was conservative with the price and the actual cost. Those are just estimates. I believe the cost will actually be lower than what I've quoted. If in fact the cost is over the $23,000 that we're going to get in the grant funding, I intend to come back to you and try to hit the drug forfeiture fund, which is legitimate use for those funds, that we have several $1,000s sitting in there that could complete the funding. So we're going to be able to make this thing work, providing the grant is approved, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be, at no cost to the taxpayer. So it'd be a great thing for us to do. I would have to come back to you if we are granted, we receive the grant, we get notification that we receive it, in order for the council to vote to accept it.
And a resolution form.
But at this point, I just needed to come before you and formally inform you this is where we're going with it, and answer any questions and take any comments.
I have a question. Is this going to outfit all the vehicles?
5.
5. So you have enough to do all 5? Okay. And the software and everything, because it's $23,000 to cover the cost, but none of that money's coming out of the town, so you wouldn't have to go up to bid on that, I don't believe. No.
We only have one vendor that
Yeah.
can provide
Okay.
the software. We have a record system that's in place now. There's another module that we would purchase that would allow the dispatch computers to talk to the car's computers. And then there's a license for each vehicle. So there'd be
But because we're not using town funds, you do not have to go out to bid.
right. And there'd only be one person that could bid on it anyway, because there's only one person that sells it.
Well, I wanted the public to hear that, so there's nothing coming back at a later date, say, well, 23,000, you didn't go out to bid, and that whole process. You don't have to do that, so I wanted that to, all right. And so basically what you want us just tonight is to hear what you have to say, and that's part of the requirement. And we've
Ask any
done that.
questions that you have, and
All right, Counselor
comments.
Pulaski, please.
Is there actually anything you need from us to say that, yes, you did present this to us?
We're having a public meeting, and it'll be in the minutes if there's any question, and
Yeah.
that we presented what the project was going to be. It doesn't say that you have to approve it at this point.
Right. You only do that when you officially get the check, then we have to accept the monies through a resolution form. Okay, and you have Counselor Bergeron that has a question.
This is just for informational, it's not, it doesn't provide you with any verbal communications with other departments, does it? Or is it just laptop communications?
It's laptop communications to our server.
Yeah, okay.
The good thing about it is that we will be able to offer the other communities that we dispatch for, will be able to purchase and talk to our server also. They'll be
So
able
they
to
buy the
purchase
car
their-
equipment, but they use our network or whatever to,
Right. There are switches and, for lack of words, security levels that we can give them so that we can communicate back and forth with them. Not that they can read our reports, but we can talk back and forth that way, or we can send them things.
so this could be a potential revenue stream for us? Would you offer that as a service that you could charge for?
I think we would offer it as part of the total package of services that we're going to provide to the other communities at the time that we renegotiate the dispatch contract.
Yeah, something to sweeten the pot.
Correct. We're going to be, we're constantly improving our own service, and at the same time, when we improve our service, they receive the upgrade too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the NCDC's payment in lieu of taxes. I have provided the council, which is public record, a copy of the NCDC's 990 form showing where they are financially. And their request is, in lieu of taxes, is to pay just the town's portion of the tax rate. Am I correct on that? And not have to pay the school or the
Well-
county?
If I may.
Sure, go ahead. Jump in.
The NCDC is a nonprofit organization, and within the state law, RSA 72, it provides that communities, with regards to nonprofit organizations, don't basically have to pay any taxes. And the goal was to have them pay some kind of payment to the town because they do obtain certain services: fire protection, police protection, road improvements, road plowing, things like that. And the goal was to have a mechanism to bring the parties together. And because the type of services that they receive are limited to the community's aspect, they don't send kids to the school, and they're not providing anything to the community, to the county, that in prior communities that I've been with, we've always looked at charging them the town's portion of the tax rate based upon their assessed value. Under the law, it states that it is the council's responsibility to establish a payment in lieu. And from my understanding, from talking with members of the NCDC, several members came to the prior administrator to have a conversation about making a payment, a pilot payment as it's called, because they weren't paying it, and they felt they had an obligation to at least pay something back to the town. And what the administrator ended up doing was creating the fact that we would take the assessed value, put the tax rate, and say, here it is. So they were getting a bill for $33,000, $34,000. The NCDC, in my conversations with them, asked if I could bring this to the council and see if we couldn't reduce this cost, because it's not a tax bill. It is, we send them an invoice, this is what they paid. And we haven't sent them an invoice for the current tax year at this point. And so my goal was to bring it to the council, and as I mentioned in my memo to you, if the council was to agree to charging them just the town portion of the tax rate, for 2007, their bill would be $8,490, and for 2008, it would be $8,755. You know, it would be no different than if the NCDC, and Mr. Chairman, you mentioned earlier that NCDC is a nonprofit organization. They're not there to make a profit. They're there to provide the town a service in enhancing the economic development, and we all know very well what they're trying to do with the mills at this point. So they don't have a lot of money. They lost their income stream when Suflex moved out. They have expended a significant amount of money over the past winter months heating the mills in order to keep pipes from freezing and maintaining the stability of the mill and the integrity of it. So what I'm doing is requesting that the council be willing to assess them for the 2 prior years at the municipal portion of the tax rate for each of those years, and for moving forward at this point in time, as long as NCDC is the owner of the mill.
Okay. I would agree with you that they're a nonprofit organization, and I have actually reached out to the community, made some calls, asked people's, what their concerns are, and I have to say, overwhelmingly, the public that I'm hearing from feels that they should at least contribute to the school portion. And again, we understand they're a nonprofit and all that, but when you're looking at net assets or fund balance at end of year of $1,737,298, and granted, that's not all money. Some of that is the buildings and the property and so on and so forth. But I really do have a hard time when I look at item number 4, part 1. It says interest on savings and temporary cash investments of $30,662. And if they are a nonprofit and they're supposed to be helping the community, perhaps they ought to be contributing a little bit more to the community. And yes, they have lost a revenue stream as of right now, but it is my understanding that their revenue stream will come back up once the mills are developed into condos, high-end scale condos, and rental, not on the rental side, but on the condo side, that they will receive, and this is for lack of a better word, either you can use the word commission or you can use the word kickback from the developer. So, and we all know there was a great deal of money made on the Bryant Rock side, which is their prerogative. I mean, that's the agreement they go into. I understand that, and I don't have a problem with that. My concern is we're in dire straits of need for the school system. We all know that. We all recognize that. And if they're in this financial situation and their intent is to bring economic vitality to the town, which they are doing, but they're sitting on this pot of, I want to say pot of gold, I think they should up that. And my other question here is, if they haven't paid since 2006, can anybody explain to me why they haven't paid?
I thought I mentioned that when I said that they are a nonprofit and did not have to make a payment. They approached the town because they felt they had an obligation to at least provide something to the community. And there was no discussion, so the discussion should have come back to the council and had that type of a discussion, because it says that. It provides that the council is the body that approves
Right.
what that level is.
So we haven't approved
So-
anything since 2006?
Correct.
So,
There was nothing there was no agreement that was reached, other than the administrator went out and
Right.
said, we're gonna charge you the tax rate, times, and I just wish to just flip to a page here, that, the land buildings and equipment
where are you?
I'm on, I guess it's page 4 of the
Up there?
990 for 2007,
Okay.
because we're going back, was, $1.6 million. So the greater portion of their value is in the buildings. I'm not here to argue the, you know, how much they have and what they should be doing and whether they should be contributing to the school. I think that's a discussion that the council can have. What I'm saying is that they make money and they put money back into the community because their goal is after the mills, there's other projects they'd like to undertake. And you know, they were established for the purposes of enhancing the economic viability of the downtown area in the town of Newmarket. So, I sort of laid out a you know, the situation at this point, hoping that, it says, as examples, RSA 7223-N, the governing body, which is you gentlemen, ladies, of any municipality may enter into a negotiation for a voluntary payment of lieu of taxes. May. It doesn't say shall. NCDC can walk away and say, we don't have to. We don't have an agreement with you. We've never reached an agreement with you, but we're willing to reach an agreement with you. And what we'd like to do, as my recommendation is to pay the municipal portion of the tax rate, and something comes back to the town for the services that they receive. I think that's a reasonable amount. It's worked in other communities that I've been in, and it gets it off, you know, where I've been where the two sides have battled.
And I would not disagree with that. I'm just saying, because of what I'm seeing here for figures, I absolutely agree with you, but I want to add on the school side of that, too.
And that's
I
up
think
to the
they can-
council to
I think they
discuss.
can afford that. I can see them not paying the county taxes and anything beyond that, but at least that level. If that's a source that we can tap into, because we have such a financial situation with the schools, and yes, right now they're sitting on it, and they may have other projects. One of the other things I should mention, too, doing my research, I believe back in 2005, they paid around $30,000-$40,000 in taxes because they paid it. There was a business there. Now, the other part of that is, back in 2006, I believe Regal Sleeve was there. Why would they not pay taxes on the revenue coming in from that?
The town
Just
didn't
because
have an
they're a
agreement.
nonprofit?
The town didn't have an agreement with them.
Yeah, see? I
and at
don't
this
have a
point, we're
problem
just
with
trying to do
this. Initially, what I wanted to do was, I added up all 3 years, and I said, gee, what town wouldn't want to reap in $100,000 in back taxes, you know? But it's not that case.
It's not
It's just the
taxes.
value of what the taxes would have been if they were, you know, not
Been
a
assessed as a
status,
tax.
as a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So the fact that they want to negotiate with us, I see that as in good faith. But when I see the balance sheet, and knowing in my mind that when the mills are sold, the condos, there's more revenue being generated there, and I don't know what they have for projects and lined up. Perhaps they should be coming to the council and discuss that with the council in a non-public session. I don't know. But I would like to see the school portion added into this equation. Mr. Bergeron.
Well, by reading this, I mean, they're exempt from taxation, and anything they pay us is purely voluntary.
Yeah, I agree.
So we really don't have a lot of negotiating leverage to speak of.
Well, it's unfortunate you said that publicly, but.
But that's the truth.
It is the
That
truth.
is
I
the
understand
honest-
that,
That's
but-
the honest to truth, whether you say it in public or you say it behind closed doors.
It's-
That is the truth. They don't need to
It's
pony
purely
up the money.
voluntary. They're coming to us and paying, but, I mean, you can ask them anything you want, but by state RSA, they don't have to give us anything.
What's that?
The sprinkler systems also need work, as per Mr. Molaski, and they haven't worked on that. And is that because they don't have the funds to do that, or because they don't believe that they're worthy of repair at this time because of the renovations? I mean, we should look into that as well.
Well, according to Rick, it's mandatory by the state fire marshal that they be
That's why he
working.
reported it.
That's why it was reported by the fire chief.
Could we get a report on that,
What's that?
to see if Rick's heard anything back?
He has the point.
Well, maybe we should have somebody from the NCDC in to explain the
I kind of thought they
situation.
would be here tonight, but I guess not, so.
Gotta be
Well, I was
with
just
us.
presenting it.
Okay, you all set?
Yes.
Council Quox.
I kind of, like, it says it is voluntary, completely voluntary, so just the town portion of the taxes, I feel, is fair. But it would be nice, I mean, the bandstand out front was built by the owners of the mills when it was built, am I correct?
I'm not
I
completely
think-
I think
familiar
so,
with the
yeah.
history
I
of
think it was,
construction.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was a
built.
meeting place
Yeah.
for them originally, I think.
And
yeah.
as a suggestion, I mean, I'd be happy to take the $16,000 they're offering, and maybe they could invest some money into helping revitalize that bandstand. That could be a suggestion for them for donation to the town, but I'm happy with as presented.
Okay. And Counselor Pulaski?
Well, when somebody volunteers to make a payment, it's not a revenue source. And I think giving them a figure for the services they're getting, in other words, the town services, I think is what we should be asking for. Not any more than that. Because as a nonprofit organization, they are not getting any services from the schools. And yes, the school's financial situation isn't all that great either. But this is not a revenue source. It's a volunteer thing, and I think we ask them for the services they're receiving. That's it.
Thank you. Counselor Minicelli?
Councilor Pulaski basically said what I was going to say. I guess I'll ask the question, though, to the town administrator. What is the next step? Do we make a motion to apportion the, what was it, 2006
Yes.
tax rate? Is that what you recommended?
Yes, well,
Which was what-
2007, 2006 and 2007, and 2000 and
Town tax rate?
2008 apportionment of the municipal side of the tax rate.
Okay.
And then you change it after that, or 9 and 10, you come back, or how does that
Well,
work?
as I see it, we would enter into agreement until such time as long as they're the owners of the mill,
Oh,
they
okay.
would be paying that payment in lieu. Once it transfers to the developer, it's then his ticket.
Okay.
And you,
Do you need a motion?
Yep.
go ahead. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I guess we'd make a motion to authorize the town administrator to enter into an agreement with NCDC relative to payment of the town portion of the taxes dating back to, do we go back to 2006?
Second.
To accept the offer.
To accept their offer, I suppose, correct.
Municipal tax rate is what it's called.
Okay. We have that motion on the floor. Who
Second.
seconded it?
I did.
You did. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please, on that motion.
Council Quox?
Aye.
Council Bergeron?
Aye.
Council LeBranch?
Aye.
Council Pulaski?
Aye.
Council Minutелli?
Aye.
Council Carr?
Aye.
Chairman Clement?
Nay. So, let's move on. Okay, I have 2 5s, so one must be a 6, okay. Item number 7, ordinance 2008-09-03, establishing the regulations of a planting, removal, management of shade and ornamental trees on public property and right-of-way. My thought on this, I read it, it's quite lengthy. It would be my recommendation that we send this to the planning board, as the planning board does review all of our ordinances, in the event that there may be, and we can ask them to put it on fast track. But that would be my recommendation. Do we have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion on that. So moved.
Second?
Do we want to discuss it any further, Councilor Clark?
Yeah, I just had a question. Councilor Bergeron, what is considered rights-of-way? That's the sidewalks and,
Exactly, I think from the center line of the road, there's a certain distance from the center line to the road to,
Correct.
is it 25 feet?
20, 40, yes.
depending on the rod,
roadways.
on the rod of the road.
We have right to access certain,
It goes to the tree area?
But just to have,
Rights-of-way to do
and
that.
has this been to legal yet at all?
no, it has not.
No,
That's
so maybe
always
from
in the-
planning board, it would be sent to legal and back to us for approval. You don't need this approved to do any tree
No,
work
I'm asking for
right now.
discussion on it,
Okay.
if there's any discussion. We can go through the process.
Okay, see no lights, roll call on the motion, please.
Counsel Cox?
Aye.
Counsel Bergeron?
Aye.
Counsel LaBranch?
Aye.
Counsel Plaski?
Aye.
Councilman Utelli?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman Glenn?
Aye. Okay, now, the next item on the agenda, I want to explain why that is there. It's cash receipts. My intent, as I explained to the administrator, I've gotten calls, some councils didn't feel we really resolved the issue last time. So, as I explained to the administrator, all I wanted to do tonight was to get a yes or a no from the council if they want to change the cash receipt policy that is currently in place and recommended by Melanson and Heath, or do they want to, change it, or do they want to stay with the current policy of no cash accepted at all?
What?
And that's,
Say that again?
Right. But
No.
I think I confused it.
It's-
I wanted to have a motion tonight to whether we want to stay with the current policy, cash receipts, which is no money being taken at the transfer station, or do we want to go into further discussion to change the current policy, and if that is the case, to change it, then it goes to the municipal audit people with their recommendation that they are charged with cash receipts and things going related to cash. That was all I wanted tonight. There was no discussion in my bi-weekly meeting with the vice chair and the administrator to put the other item on the agenda. So I want to move that, because it was never approved by the chair, move that to the workshop in April.
The machine that gives out.
This machine here. That was never put on there. I just want a simple yes or no. Do we want to keep the current policy, or do we want to go and make changes? And I'm sorry, Don, that you're here, because I said to him, there was no need for you really to have to be here, but he said, in his words, I'm the town administrator, I can have the staff here if I want them here. And I said, fine. But all I want is a clear vote, yes or no.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I want to make sure you're doing a procedural piece of this is correct. I think earlier today I gave you a letter which reviewed Resolution 2007-45. You may want to look at that, because I think the responsibility to change the policies lies in the hands of the Municipal Audit Committee.
Okay.
And I think you just said, Chairman, that you wanted to refer it to the Audit Committee. I think, based on the way that reads, and, you can all help me out, some of you were here, most of you were here when the resolution was passed. The intent of that, to me, it reads, the intent is that they need to come to you with a recommendation on how to change any policies.
Right, but if we have a question, we should be sending it to them to come back.
I think that the way I read it, I think that's the way it might have to go.
Yeah, and that's what I'm recommending. So that's what I'm saying tonight. Do we want to change that policy? And if the council says yes, then we would send it over there. Or if the council wants to take the recommendation of Melanson and Heath, which says no cash at transfer station, as it is currently written.
The way I read the resolution, I think they need to come forward to you with a recommendation.
With the recommendation.
Right.
Because it says they have to present it to the council.
But don't we have to send it to them first?
No, I think it's part of
You're
their
aware.
charge.
There's the charge to the Municipal Audit Committee to review the practices of the town as it relates to its financial integrity. And therefore, what the finance director is saying is, when you look at that, they are to look on a yearly basis from the time that they receive the audit. They have 45 days to look at a variety of different things. And they may look at that and say, you know something, we want to change the policy, and send a recommendation to the council and come in and say, here's the reasons why. Or they may say, you know, the policy is fine the way it is. There's nothing going on there. There's no reason to change it, so therefore, let's just move on.
Which is basically what I tried to do at the previous meeting, was to send it to them. But Or give them a heads up on it.
This whole thing is giving you a chance to reread it,
Okay.
and the more you read it, the more,
Yeah, and you're correct, we just got this today.
Yes.
So perhaps what we should do is to follow your recommendations here and let the audit committee make that.
yeah, and their
recommendation.
charge is to review all the policies, not only the cash receipt.
However, what the current policy is now stays in effect, and no cash received after transfer station until we get that recommendation back.
That's correct. And they have 45 days from the day that they receive the audit to come back to you with their review of the audit and any recommended changes and so on.
And I, at this point, without reading the whole thing, I'm speaking for myself now. I have no problem with that recommendation. I don't. So we have, Mr. Bertrand, you're on.
In our package, the public doesn't know this, but we have like a picture of a machine at the Lee Town Transfer Station where somebody's feeding a $5 bill and it spits out a ticket, or whatever he's doing. He's paying by cash in a computerized machine, similar to like a phone card machine or whatever, and it spits out a dump transfer ticket. Now, that man's using cash. So what I'm thinking is, if we say no cash is received at the town dump, does that hamstring us on some kind of technology like this? Shouldn't it be more like,
No.
no cash is received directly by the attendant at the town transfer station? But if we do get a device like this that takes multiple forms of payment,
No, I think you may.
we don't want to hamstring ourselves.
Yeah, no, I think you may misunderstood what I said was, I'm not rejecting this at all. I'm just saying it's not.
No,
it's
but I'm
not
just
up for
saying, by
discussion tonight.
changing it, making it too restrictive,
Yeah.
we're kind of hamstringing ourselves on different technologies that may be available to us that will
No,
help
you're
the
right, you're
situation.
absolutely right. And what I would recommend is that this, as a source of handling cash, because there's going to be cash at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to get in here, unlock it, and take the money to the to the DPW office, so there is that transfer of funds. There is accountability there, and that's what I like about it, because there's far more accountability. What I'm saying, this should go back, as I believe Mr. Farnell is saying, it should go to the audit committee as part of the recommendation, along with the town administrator, say, this is a good way of doing it, because other communities do it. Other communities, as I checked today, as far as Epping, they accept no cash whatsoever, under any circumstances. They have their problems, and that's why. So I want this to come back as discussion, absolutely,
Yeah,
I do.
you know, personally, I think it's just that the policy needs to be more flexible.
Yep.
We need to create some way for people to use multiple forms of payment, and I think our problem will go away. As long as it's accountability involved, it should be a non-issue.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Councilor Quox.
The finance director, Mr. Parnell, said that it is up to the municipal audit to make a recommendation. And I believe the municipal audit has made a recommendation. In their letter to the council that was read by the chair, Mr. Basanti, at March 18th meeting here, he did state that this committee understands that town policy prohibits the taking of cash payments by town employees while working at the town transfer station. This committee further understands that in some occasions over the past year, those town employees have allegedly accepted cash payments for prescribed transfer fees while working at the town transfer station. This acceptance of cash payment creates the potential for error in the abuse of town funds. Allegedly, the town administration officials are aware of this violation of town policy and have condoned the acceptance of cash payments at the transfer station. This committee unanimously recommends that the council investigate these alleged circumstances, meet with town administration officials regarding same, review the appropriateness of this policy in light of any mitigating circumstances, and resolve these matters forthwith so that the
Can I
town
interrupt for a
funds...
second? What does it have to do with what we're doing here? Are they specifically saying that in no circumstances don't take cash? Is that what they do?
We have a policy in place that states no cash.
Okay.
Period.
And they're saying
And
to
that's-
stick to that? Is that what they're
Yeah.
saying? Okay. That's,
They do not want any cash, no cash receipt forms
okay.
at the dump, no cash. And we have already done what Mr. Parnell suggested and said that we are supposed to do according to the resolution.
Yeah.
That's what we were formed for, and this is what we've done, and this is what we've asked for.
However, However, this is new information, relatively new technology, and
That is, and by time...
I need to finish.
I still have the floor.
No, you don't.
No,
I've
yes,
interrupted you,
no.
and I asked you a
I still have
question.
the floor. Peter's rules, I'm sorry, Mr.
No.
Chair, I still have, that is something that will come up at a different time. But until then, you want to know what to do prior to any of this being resolved and implemented. And the municipal committee said until anything else is done, until we've had an investigation and meet with the administration, that there's to be no cash accepted at the dump.
And I think I just said that. I made that point. Under this current policy, there was no
Nothing.
cash to be accepted.
Right.
However, what I wanted to tell you, this is new information. This should be going back to that committee as part of a possible solution, as what Councilor Bergeron said. We need to be a little more flexible, but until we get to that area, the
This-
current policy stays in place.
Right.
And I don't think anybody would argue with that. So, all I wanted was you to get to the point of what the letter said. Do not take cash under the current policy.
Right.
I would recommend, and I'm sure the council will probably, and they can speak for themselves, actually, but we need to get this. This is new technology, and it needs to be looked at, absolutely. And that's my point.
And I spoke to the chair tonight, Mr. Basanti, and I read him, the town administrator's FYI, stating that he did not change the policy, he just has a cash receipt book at the transfer station in case cash has to be accepted. That is changing the policy. There's no getting around it. And that, we are having a meeting Tuesday evening. We'll be discussing the audit and everything else, but we do have a recommendation from the committee, and I'm wondering when this town council and/or the administrator is going to act on the recommendations as they're supposed to.
You want to respond to that? Because I have other
Absolutely.
councilors.
The reason I want to respond to it is, A, the committee did not post a meeting. B, they met with a quorum without the public knowing that they were meeting. C, they discussed and came to a conclusion about something that they have no right under the RSA 91A to do. And then they come in here and they say, there's allegations that we're doing stuff and we've known about it. If anything, that committee met illegally, came to a conclusion illegally without any public knowledge that that was going on. And I'm amazed, Counselor, that you're sitting there reading that like it was done, with God's blessing, because it wasn't. It was done illegally.
And when was
It was
the
done illegally. You
meeting? When
know
was
that,
the meeting
Counsel.
illegal? Which meeting are you referring to?
The meeting is that the 18th meeting? Is that-
That's the
That
18th.
committee never posted the meeting because it came to my knowledge that the committee was meeting downstairs.
Right.
I went to the bulletin boards and there was no notice.
No, there wasn't.
It
And
was
we
even
did.
said that the committee got together and came and discussed the issue and came up with a letter. How can you do something, Counselor, illegally, and somebody who knows the law in 91A,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do that. So the committee met illegally.
Okay, you made your
And you're
point.
expecting me to respond to something? I don't think so.
This did not come from that meeting.
It was, Mr. Basanti said so.
No, that did not come from me. We discussed this at a meeting before that.
And the
When
minutes
I-
are where?
I spoke, I am not the secretary. I spoke to Sarah Morgan, I believe her last name is, and I told her she has to get the minutes to Kathy. And I've told her repeatedly, and she has promised me that she will do that.
But that letter right there is dated on the night that you folks met illegally and signed
This
off
letter-
on a letter, and there
this-
had to be some kind of discussion.
This letter was discussed, we had a meeting,
Correct.
and we had,
On the 18th.
no,
On-
we had a meeting and we discussed this from the police report, that's public knowledge. And I brought this to their attention, and that is where this letter came from.
And the police report, if I'm correct, and the chief of police is here,
Mm-hmm.
he's probably the best person to speak to it.
Mhm.
And I would appreciate if he would speak to it.
Mhm.
But that was an investigation that was undertaken in August of 2008.
We're way off base.
I understand that. And-
Way off
and-
base.
and
And
I
I'm
said
going to
this-
rein this back in.
Okay.
All right?
I
For the
have,
point of, I've been told by councilors, you're not reining in the meeting, so I'm reining it in. You made your point, and I'm going to state this, in their defense. If they had known in advance that this had been, cash been taken all along down there, and they were informed earlier on, they would have had better chance to address these issues.
If I just want to say
No
one thing to
response.
that.
I'm sorry. I'm reining this in. I've had it. Councilor Pulaski, unless you got something new here. This is not, we're going right back where we were
Okay.
a week ago, and that's not where I want to go.
Under the purview of Resolution 2007-45, the Municipal Audit Committee reviews and recommends policy changes. Period. With all due respect, they don't ask the council for investigations. That's not in their purview. And if the Municipal Audit Committee sees a problem with a policy that they can suggest a change to, they should be coming to the council with that change. Whether it be the machine, whether it be a different way of handling it, that's what should be being done by this committee. And obviously, they have not done this, so I think a need for a vote on the no cash policy, which is in effect right now, with no changes having been made to it by the council, on suggestion from the Municipal Audit Committee, there's nothing to vote on.
Let me just go back to your comment about they're not here as an investigating body. However, they can never, ever investigate anything unless it's brought to their attention to do so. Right. Councilor Minatelli.
I'm all set.
Thank you. Councilor LaBranche.
I'm all set.
Thank you. All right, so at this point, my recommendation would be the council to read the recommendation by Mr. Parnell and let the audit committee make their recommendation on the cash policy. The council, at a later date, now that I rethink about this, could discuss this, and if we agree, then we can send it to them. Does that make sense? Rather than have them come back and tell us? I don't know. How does the council want to handle that portion of it? Because I don't want to go into discussion on
I
this.
could bring that to them Tuesday night.
Huh?
Which portion are you talking about?
The
Machines.
The machine.
Machines.
I can bring that
Just the
to them
machine.
Tuesday night.
That's something that we should definitely
I
consider
think you should
discussing
bring
later.
it to them.
I'll bring it to the committee Tuesday night.
All right, bring it to the committee. The council's, hasn't had a lot of discussion. It's preliminary. What are your thoughts on it? And they can make their recommendation to us.
But until then, the cash policy is
Till
in
now,
effect.
the cash policy stays in effect, and there's no receipts for cash. None. Thank you. All right, we have old business. I hate this. Is there anything for old business? Thank you, Mr. Pennell. All right, I have something for old business. Mr. Winowski, in our staff meetings, and I have repeatedly asked this, and I'm not getting anywhere, so I guess I got to bring it to the council. We've asked information on Mr. Caprioli and the painting, what the cost is going to be. We already know the colors, well, actually, you know the colors. Has the council seen the colors, by the way?
No.
Yeah, you should bring the colors into the council. I've asked you, what's the total cost, because we know we have something that it's going to be a lesser amount, but Mr. Caprioli indicated that if we do all that we had asked to do, which is the hallways upstairs, downstairs, and the council chambers area, it may exceed the amount of which we agreed on here, and he was willing to come in with that figure. I have not seen that figure yet, plus I would like to see a scheduled date of when the painting will take effect, and I've not gotten that. And you would vouch for me, we've had these conversations, so can you give us an idea?
Sure. Probably this Friday, Mr. Caprioli will have some people coming in here. They're going to start with this room. He was in on Tuesday. We had discussion, reviewed the colors, and his goal is to paint this room first and then do the hallway. and at that point, see what remains in the balance, and talk about how much it's going to cost, because as he says, to do the stairwells is going to cost a lot more money. So we agreed that let's start on the council chambers and then the hallway. And I spoke with the folks from Building and Grounds, and Mr. Caprioli is supposed to contact me probably tomorrow to let me know if he's going to have a crew come in. If they do, we'll pull everything off the walls, take the blinds down, pull everything into the center, and they'll start in this room as the beginning.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is why, when he goes to a business or somebody's house, he's going to give him an estimate of all the work that's going to be done prior to doing the work. So why can't he come up with a figure, what it would cost here, the hallway, the downstairs, we minus what we agreed, and we know what the balance is. That's what I'm asking for.
And he was going to be looking at that, but we
They're gonna look
agreed
at
to
this for
start.
3 months.
To start the process of this room and the hallway first.
But I want a cost for everything prior to it starts. And, I mean, we already agreed to a certain point, I can understand him doing that. But I would like to have a total cost of everything. So if he says 13,000, we agreed to 5,000, then we know there's another cost of $8,000.
Breakdown of the cost.
Yeah, I want a breakdown, and I don't know why that's so hard to get. I really don't understand that.
And, Mr. Chair, if I might,
Yes, go ahead.
could I see the correspondence from Chief Sears that you just got?
We're not going there. You can get that afterwards.
Okay.
Sure, and if we have a new business, I'll share it with you.
Okay, fine.
I don't have a problem with that.
We may just skip new business. I don't know. I have another thing, Counselor Minatelli and Counselor Quacks, as we had discussed earlier, and I'm sorry, but I cut you off. Update on revenue increase. You folks are going to get together hopefully real soon?
Yes.
Because there is a date in which
Right.
we would like you to report back to the council for increasing fees. Okay. The other thing I had 3 was Mr. Parnell's audit forensic statement. You folks really need to get on top of that because he gave me that on the 30th, and you have 45 days?
Yep.
Is that what Mr. Parnell was talking about earlier?
It's the
Yeah.
municipal audit committee.
Yeah, so you really need to get on top of that one. And the other one I have is, Mr. Winalski, can you update the council? It's my understanding, a couple of weeks ago, you had a conversation with a Russ Simon, a Moody Point Association, and we also received a legal opinion from Laura Spector in regards to the Moody Point Association and what their intents are to piggyback with the town on some
They're filing what it would be called an amicus brief, friend of the court's brief, on the issue that is before the court, where Mr. Cheney is taking the town, feeling that the town should have granted his subdivision of Lot 13. In a conversation that I had with Mr. Simons, I said, nothing precludes the Moody Point Community Association from filing a friend of the court brief to get involved in the case if that's what they wish to do. That was the extent of the conversation.
Okay, but I felt that was important to bring it back to council, and you were given an opportunity when we had a staff meeting, is there anything new going on? And I had no idea what the vice chair was referring to until I asked afterwards, and I thought, wow, that's significant. That should have been brought to the council.
I provided the council the
I didn't see
email that
anything.
came from Laura Spector, who informed me of it, and I...
No, I got it from the town planner at my request. That's how I got it. So, I mean, all right, so we got the update. That's what I wanted. And I'm all done. Mr. Manatelli, you have a old business?
No, I have new business, I'm sorry.
No, we're going to skip that tonight. New business. There you go. Whoa, all the lights are on.
This is a housekeeping item relative to the audited financial statements and management letter for 2008 for the town, and I was just going to mention, I noticed that it's posted on the town website.
Correct.
So the public can review that at their leisure.
Yeah, because actually...
I just think that's important to
Yeah.
provide that information.
If we could go one step further on that, I was going to ask the council if they had any questions for Mr. Pennell, that we can schedule another meeting to have him here specifically to this issue, but everybody's fine, then we're fine. we have two lights on at the same time, and Mr. Pulaski, you've talked already once, so we'll let Mr. LaBranch go.
I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of the race this weekend, Great Bay Half Marathon, which will definitely congest traffic along Route 108 from the hours, I believe, of 10 to 2? 3, 10 to 3. So just to make sure, I know the signs are out there, it's been noticed, but having worked out the last couple of years, there tends to get some very angry motorists, and sometimes you're taking your life in your own hands. But just to remind everybody that this is taking place and there will be some delays.
Are there detours?
Obviously, the main goal here is to protect the runners. So I do know that there's considerable backups, especially on the way back, I believe. That's when it tends to get the worst, when the runners are on the way back.
I thought it was more the way out, because you're holding them up for a group time, because all the runners are together.
They don't separate that, they separate, but not that much.
And what street should we avoid? What streets will be impacted?
Main.
108
Main.
and Elm.
The whole town.
If you're going to Durham, try Packers Falls.
Do we have a sense of how many people this year? It seems it goes up every year, which is good, but do we have a sense of how many people this year?
They expected more than 1,200.
Wow. And where's the main headquarters? Where do they start, the high school?
They start at the elementary and at the high school, I believe it
Okay.
is. Parking lots are available throughout the town. Shuttle buses are available also to get to the race. There's no shuttles after the race.
I would say kudos to those who organize it.
This is the third?
It'll be the third one I work, yeah.
Third.
Yeah, I believe it's a third.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Pulaski?
The condition of the stairs at the main entrance have deteriorated even further, and I would really like to see that entrance closed until the repairs are done, for a number of reasons. One, for the safety of the individuals coming and going, which includes town staff. Second of all, I don't want to see anybody fall and sue the town. And thirdly of all, I don't want to see the town getting an OSHA violation. And I think that is prime candidate in its current condition for an OSHA violation. I would like to see that entrance blocked off from inside and out, and directed with signs directing people to use the other entrance temporarily till that is repaired.
Just so that everyone is aware, we are not governed by OSHA. OSHA would not come into the town of Newmarket or any municipality and get involved. It's not how that happens. The other issue is that I spoke with the folks at Building and Grounds, and since the building is going to be closed on Friday, or we have limited access because there's no office hours, we're going to take and do a temporary patch to take care of it until we get the stone in and in place.
So tomorrow could be roped up tomorrow anyways.
Well, you know, we can do that, but it's been like that for 2 weeks, and everybody has, understood we have a problem there. We have kept up the signs that they got, pretty well ruined with the rain that we had. We put up new signs. People are being very careful at coming in and out of the building. We're working as expeditiously as we can to get the new stone in here so that we can fix that particular area. But when I talked with the Building and Ground folks, we're going to just do a temporary patch on that, so that way we can continue to use it.
I think we're all getting that message. It's going to get taken care of.
Right.
But the question really is, what harm is it to shut it off and use the other door
The
so
interim.
we don't have a potential situation? I got a call Sunday night from the but the Derby people. They were concerned about the young kids coming in. I have to address it and say to them, it's being addressed. The town administrator knows about that. Well, why don't we petition it off with that yellow tape? And we received an email from a citizen who lives at Rivermore, who also says, she noticed that there was a problem. She copied me. I sent it to you and said, Mr. Winalski, can you please rectify the problem? You never responded back to me, but she got a response back. And her comment tonight is, thank you for your response, and what is soon? If not within 24 hours, then pro tem, the entrance, should be taped off and people directed to the west entrance. Better to err on the side of caution. That's what we're saying. I don't understand why you're giving such a hard time by saying, it's okay, I got signs out there. We, public people, are saying, it's not okay. Shut it down, rope it off, and direct them to the other side. Why even have a potential of a problem? That's it, that's all we're saying. If it has to come in the form of a motion to do it, then we'll do it in the motion and
We'll-
direct you to do it. I'm
We'll
sorry.
rope it off tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Inside note, please, Ed.
Counselor?
My only concern with that is fire safety, second means of egress.
They can
Okay.
still exit.
That's your only, that's your second exit. If you,
They have one out here, the elevator?
You can't use the elevator when you have a fire.
No. If you're down in the auditorium, that's where it would be activity. They can go out through that door.
but you're not talking about shutting it down just for activities downstairs, you're talking about shutting it down. I'm just, you can do what you want. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking more in conjunction with what a fire chief may think, as far as the second means of egress. That's my only concern.
I think with the current situation, the way these doors work, that in the case of fire, somebody's gonna go and push that door open and go out it if they have to.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think that's an issue.
and going through yellow caution tape on the other side is going to be no big issue. So you do still have a second means of egress. But I think the chance of someone falling on that are very high. And I've been watching it, it has been deteriorating, and until that patch is done and solid again, I suggest highly that we block that off totally, inside and out, so that if there is a fire, they can just hit that bar and go out the door, if need be. But for general use, no.
All right. Counselor Quach? Thank you.
You can't block any fire egress at all, period, in any way, shape, or form, even with the caution tape. You could tape the caution tape to each door panel, but you cannot block it by putting tape in front or on the outside. But you can put caution tape, and you can put probably a sawhorse in front of the step outside coming in, stating, do not use this, use the other entrance. But you can't physically block it off, because where I work, they had a fire inspection when we went through all that.
Okay, thank you.
So, but you can still put that tape up there, caution, please do not use this exit, use the other side, and do the same on the other side.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, put a sawhorse in front on the exterior with the sign stating, please use other entrance.
Do you have something?
No, other than just to respond to Councilor Quox, that was the chief gave me a notice to remind everybody about the half marathon.
Oh.
Oh.
Mind reader.
One person's ahead of you. Okay, your report. Do you have anything, anybody have a question for the administrator on his FY report? Okay, I see none. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll speak for a minute, Kelly. Aye.
Ed,
Steve can't leave.